There comes a time in life when the roles between parents and children start to shift. You spend decades raising them, guiding them, and sacrificing for them. But then, one day, you realize something has changed. Maybe they ignore your advice. Maybe they dismiss your opinions. Maybe they talk down to you. Or worse, they make you feel like a burden. And that hurts. If your children have started treating you with less respect than you deserve, you might feel frustrated, even angry. You might want to remind them of everything you've done for them, the years you spent putting them first. But here's the truth. Getting angry won't fix it. In fact, it often makes things worse. Instead, there's a much more effective way to regain their respect, without fighting, without arguments, and without resentment. Today, I'm going to share 6 powerful shifts that can completely change the way your children see you. These are simple changes in how you respond that can restore your place as a valued and respected figure in their lives. Some of these might surprise you, but if you stay until the end, you'll discover exactly how to rebuild the respect and connection you deserve. Now, let's get started. Action 1. Stop chasing their approval. One of the biggest mistakes parents make, especially as they grow older, is trying too hard to please their children. Maybe you've caught yourself doing it. You go out of your way to accommodate them. You say yes when you want to say no. You put their needs ahead of your own, hoping that if you just do enough, they'll appreciate you more. But here's the painful truth. The more you chase their approval, the less they respect you. Respect isn't earned through self-sacrifice. It's earned through self-respect. If you're always bending over backward, always giving in, always trying to keep the peace, what you're really teaching them is that your feelings come second, and once they believe that, it's easy for them to take you for granted. I once knew a woman named Margaret. She was strong and independent in her younger years, but as she got older, she let her children make all the decisions. She rearranged her schedule around their needs. She kept her opinions to herself. She even ignored it when they spoke down to her. "I just want to keep the family together," she told me once. But what happened? Her children stopped valuing her. They saw her as someone who would always adjust, always agree, always stay silent. She thought she was keeping the peace. But what she was really doing was losing her voice. If your children don't respect you, the first step isn't to demand it. It's to stop acting like you need it. Set boundaries. Say no when you need to. Speak your mind, even if they don't like what you have to say. Because the moment you start respecting yourself, they will start seeing you differently. And in time, that respect will come back to you. Now, let's move to Action 2. Action 2. Don't argue. Lead by example. When your children dismiss your opinions, talk over you, or treat you with disrespect, your first instinct might be to argue, to remind them of everything you've done, to demand that they listen. But let me share a truth that will save you years of frustration. Arguing never works. Think about it. When was the last time you convinced someone to respect you by fighting for it? Respect isn't won through words. It's earned through presence. Through the way you carry yourself, through the way you respond when others test your patience. If you meet disrespect with anger, all you're doing is confirming what they already believe, that they have power over you. I knew a man named Frank, a retired teacher who had spent his life leading a classroom with confidence. But at home, his grown children treated him like an afterthought. They ignored his advice, dismissed his concerns, and sometimes even laughed when he tried to correct them. At first, Frank argued back. He tried to prove he still deserved their respect. But the more he fought, the worse things got. Then, one day, Frank made a change. Instead of arguing, he started listening, really listening. He stopped chasing respect with words and instead carried himself like a man who already had it. He spoke calmly, with wisdom, without needing to win. Slowly, his children started noticing. They saw a man who wasn't desperate for their approval, who didn't need to prove himself, who simply was a figure of strength. If your children don't respect you, don't fight them for it. Show them what respect looks like by the way you treat yourself. Keep your dignity. Speak with confidence. And most importantly, never lower yourself to their level. Because when you hold your ground with grace, they will feel it. And in time, they'll follow your lead. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Action 3, withdraw your emotional dependence. One of the hardest lessons to learn as you grow older is this. You cannot depend on your children for emotional fulfillment. You may love them deeply. You may want their love and respect in return. But the moment they sense that you need them to feel valued, the dynamic shifts. Here's the reality. People, even your own children, respect those who are emotionally independent. When you rely on them for validation, affection, or attention, it puts pressure on them, and instead of feeling grateful, they start feeling burdened. They may grow impatient, they may seem irritated, and the more you chase their love, the less freely they give it. I once knew a woman named Helen. She was a kind-hearted mother who had given everything to her children. But as they grew older and got busy with their own lives, she found herself waiting by the phone, hoping they would call. When they didn't, she called them instead, often too much. She reminded them how much she missed them, how she wished they would visit more. But instead of bringing them closer, it pushed them away. Her calls started to feel like an obligation rather than something they looked forward to. Then one day, Helen did something different. She stopped waiting by the phone. She stopped calling first. Instead, she started focusing on herself, picking up new hobbies, going out with friends, taking care of her own happiness. And something surprising happened. Her children started calling more. They began respecting her time, seeing her as someone with a full life of her own. The lesson is simple. The less you depend on your children to make you feel needed, the more they will value your presence. When you show them that you can stand strong on your own, they will respect you, not out of obligation, but because they genuinely admire the life you've built. Action 4. Set boundaries and enforce them. One of the biggest reasons children lose respect for their parents is because the parents allow it. If you let your children talk to you disrespectfully, dismiss your opinions, treat you as if your time and feelings don't matter, then they will keep doing it. Not because they are bad people, but because people, especially family, will always treat you the way you allow them to. Setting boundaries doesn't mean cutting off your children or creating conflict. It means calmly and firmly deciding what kind of behavior you will and will not accept. And more importantly, enforcing those boundaries when they are crossed. I remember a man named Robert, a retired businessman who had spent his life running a company with discipline and confidence. But when it came to his adult children, he struggled. They interrupted him when he spoke. They dismissed his concerns. They even criticized the way he lived his life. At first, he tolerated it. He told himself, "It's not worth the fight." But over time, he realized something important. Every time he stayed silent, he was teaching them that their behavior was acceptable. So one day, Robert changed his approach. When his son interrupted him, he calmly said, "I'll continue speaking when you're ready to listen." When his daughter dismissed his opinion, He simply replied, "You don't have to agree with me, but I expect you to respect me." And when they continued to push his limits, he made it clear, if they couldn't treat him with basic respect, he wouldn't be spending time with them. And you know what happened? They started listening. At first, they resisted. They tested him. But over time, they saw that their father wasn't backing down. They realized he valued himself enough to demand respect. If this message resonates with you, comment number 4 below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Now, let's move to Action 5. Action 4. Set boundaries and enforce them. Continue. And because Robert stood his ground, his children started giving him the respect he deserved. If your children don't respect you, it's time to ask yourself, are you allowing it? Because if you don't set boundaries, they won't set them for you. And if you don't stand up for yourself, no one else will. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Now, let's move forward. Action 5. Stop giving without appreciation. One of the quickest ways to lose respect is to keep giving to people who don't appreciate it. And as parents, we do this more often than we realize. We give our time, we give our energy, we give our support, even when it's not acknowledged, even when it's taken for granted, even when we're met with nothing but entitlement. But here's the truth. When you give to someone who doesn't appreciate it, you don't build love. You don't build respect. You build expectation. They stop seeing your kindness as something valuable and start seeing it as something they are entitled to. And the moment you stop, they don't feel grateful, they feel inconvenienced. I once knew a man named George. He was a father who had always been generous with his children. He helped them financially whenever they needed it. He dropped everything to assist them. He even rearranged his life to accommodate their needs. But instead of gratitude, he was met with complaints. They didn't say thank you. They expected more. And the worst part? When he finally needed their help, they were too busy. Then one day, George made a change. He stopped overextending himself. He stopped offering help before it was even asked. And most importantly, he started saying no when he needed to. At first, his children were frustrated. They didn't understand why he wasn't bending over backward for them anymore. But over time, something shifted. They started valuing his time. They started appreciating his efforts, because suddenly they realized his generosity wasn't unlimited. It was a gift, not a guarantee. If you feel like your children don't respect your time, effort, or kindness, take a step back and ask yourself, are you giving more than you should? And if so, what would happen if you stopped? Because when you teach people that your generosity is conditional on respect, they will start treating it that way. If this message resonates with you, comment number 5 below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Now let's move to Action 6. Action 6. Build a life outside of them. One of the most powerful ways to regain your children's respect is to show them that your happiness doesn't revolve around them. As parents, it's natural to devote ourselves to our children, to make them the center of our lives. But as we get older, that dynamic shifts. And if you've spent your entire life prioritizing them, they may start seeing you as someone who has nothing else going on. But here's an important truth. People respect those who have their own purpose, their own interests, and their own sense of fulfillment. If your children see that you rely on them for entertainment, validation, or meaning, they might start feeling suffocated, or worse. They might start seeing you as someone who has No life of their own. I knew a woman named Eleanor. She was a widow in her late 70s. After her husband passed, she poured everything into her children's lives. She checked in constantly. She gave advice they didn't ask for. She expected them to fill the space that her husband once did, but instead of drawing them closer, it pushed them away. They visited less. Their calls became shorter. And Eleanor felt more alone than ever. Then one day, she made a choice. She joined a book club. She started traveling with friends. She volunteered at a local community center. She stopped making her children the center of her world. And something incredible happened. Her children started reaching out more. They were curious about what she was doing. They admired her independence. They respected her. If your children don't respect you, ask yourself, do they see you as someone with a full, meaningful life? Or do they see you as someone waiting around for their attention? Because when you show them that you are living, not just existing, they will start seeing you in a completely different light. If this message resonates with you, comment number 6 below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Now, let's move to final thoughts. Respect is not something you can demand from your children. It's something you inspire through the way you carry yourself, the way you set boundaries, and the way you live your life. If they have started treating you with less care, less consideration, or less respect, don't waste your energy getting angry. Instead, shift your approach. Stop chasing their approval, because the less you need it, the more they'll give it. Lead by example, because your dignity speaks louder than your words. Withdraw your emotional dependence, because the more self-sufficient you are, the more they'll respect your presence. Set boundaries, because people will only treat you as well as you require them to. Stop giving without appreciation, because when your kindness is expected, rather than valued, it loses its meaning. Build a life outside of them, because when they see you thriving on your own, they will start seeing you as someone worthy of admiration. If you take these steps, you won't just regain their respect. You'll also find more happiness and fulfillment in your own life. Which of these actions resonated with you the most? Comment below and let's discuss. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to subscribe for more insights that will help you navigate life with confidence and wisdom. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Final thoughts: earning respect the right way. Generosity, when taken for granted, loses its value. And most importantly, build a life outside of your children, because people respect those who have their own purpose, their own joy, and their own sense of fulfillment. If you do these things, something incredible will happen. Your children will start seeing you in a different light, not as someone waiting for their attention, but as someone who commands respect simply by being who they are. And in time, that respect will come back to you, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. We want to hear from you. What's one thing you learned today that you plan to use in your life? Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Your feedback is important to us, and reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you found this video valuable, check like this video to let us know you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more powerful insights. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Your support helps us keep creating meaningful content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Blast off.